Good morning children and welcome back to your chemistry class. So today in the states of matter chapter we are going to discuss about the volume correction and the pressure correction. But before that a little review of what we had done in the previous video. That is, we had studied about the two van der Waals constants. What were those van der Waals constants we had discussed about? They were A and B, right? Now what is the physical significance of this van der Waals constant A? This constant A used in the van der Waals equation, it is called as attraction coefficient, isn't it? And it is the characteristic of a gas. The value of this A, it is a measure of the force of attraction between the molecules of the gases. Larger the value of A, more will be the negative deviation from the ideality. The value of A, it is a measure of the force of attraction between the molecules of the gas, right? Now let's talk about the significance of the constant B. This of the van der Waals constant, what is this termed as? This is called as the excluded volume per mole, isn't it, of the gas. It is a measure of the effective size of the molecules of the gases. This term B, it accounts for the repulsive forces. What does it account for? The repulsive forces, right, between the molecules of the gas, and this is the characteristic of each gas. Remember, the value of B is approximately 4 times the actual volume of a single molecule multiplied by the Avogadro's number, right? Now let us talk about the volume correction. I think I had discussed about volume correction also in the previous notes that I had sent you, but still I will explain it to you again. So the gas molecules which move in a vessel, they have appreciable size, right? Therefore the whole of the volume of the container is not available for the movement of these molecules. A molecule can move in all the space available except that occupied by the other molecules. Thus, the total volume of the container minus the effective volume of the molecule themselves is only available for the molecular motion to take place. That is, the actual volume available is equal to the volume of the container or vessel minus the volume of molecules. Clear? Thus, the total volume of the container minus the effective volume of the molecules themselves is only the actual available volume, right? So the volume occupied by the molecule themselves, what is that called as? Prohibited volume. This volume is not available for the molecular motion, and this prohibited volume is therefore termed as your excluded volume, right? If B is your excluded volume per mole, then if B is the excluded volume, right, then NB is the excluded volume for N moles of the gas molecules. Okay, then V minus NB, this is the available volume. Clear? The actual volume available, this is equal to the volume of the container minus the volume of the molecules. This suggests that the volume in the ideal gas equation of state should be replaced by the free volume, that is V minus NB. Thus, what will be your ideal gas equation? That then we know that PV is equal to nRT. Now replace the correct volume. So it becomes what? P into V minus NB. This is equal to nRT. Therefore, PV is equal to nRT plus NBP. Right? Now remember, the validity of the van der Waal equation, it can be tested. How? That is, when temperature is 0, then your volume will be equal to NB. If your temperature is 0, then your volume will be always equal to NB. Right? Under this condition, the volume of the substance will always be equal to the excluded volume. So this will be true. Why? Because at absolute 0, the separation between the molecules is minimum possible, and hence the space occupied by the molecule, it is approximately equal to the volume occupied by the substance. Is this point clear to all of you? I hope volume correction is clear. This was what I had given you in the notes also. Now we are going to discuss about the pressure correction. Let us understand pressure correction. Here the correction was made due to what? Forces of attraction. So which van der Waal constant are we going to talk here about? We are going to talk about A. Right? So let us consider a gas in a beaker. Right? I am giving you one example, and if we take the center molecule, now this center molecule, it will be attracted by all the sides by equal forces, as it is surrounded by the molecules from all the sides. Isn't it so? Clear? Now all the forces of attraction will be cancelled out as it is attracted by all the sides. Now if you look at this particular molecule, right, which is striking the wall of the container. Now this will only experience the inward pull. This will only experience the inward attraction, as other side there is no molecule. Therefore, the pressure on this molecule should be less than the pressure in the inner molecules. Is this point clear? Thus over here, the expected pressure should be less where? On the molecule which is striking the wall, rather than the molecule which is found inside, or I should say in the inside the container, right, in the center of the container. Now the negative deviation from the ideal behavior, it is shown by the real gas, and it is an indication of the presence of the force of attraction between the gas molecules. Now this force of attraction, it completely depends on what? The gas density. Where is the gas density? More at the center or at the wall? It is always in the center. So more number of molecules in a given volume of the gas, more will be the force of attraction. Thus the number of molecules that are attracted by the other molecules, it is always proportional to what? The number density, that is N by V, and the number of molecules that are attracting the other molecules, it is also proportional to the number density. So this will be proportional to the other particles. That is why I said the force of attraction will get cancelled. Therefore, what happens over here? The force of attraction, or the forces, the attractive forces, they get reduced. The attractive force responsible to reduce the pressure, it is proportional to the square of the number density. Therefore, if we are going to write down the correction of the pressure due to the presence of the force of attraction, then we can write it down like this. Force of attraction, this will be equal to an square upon v square, right? Where what is your A? A is your proportionality constant, and it is also known as your van der Waals constant, right? Now this term an square upon v square, what is this? This is called as your internal pressure of the gas. What is this also termed as? The internal pressure of the gas, right? So the pressure appearing on the ideal gas now must be replaced by what? It should be replaced by P plus an square upon v square. It should be replaced by this, right? Thus the van der Waals equation now becomes what? Let us write down PV is equal to nRT. So P is what now? P is your P plus an square upon v square. What was your V? V was V minus NB. This was the corrected volume, right? This is equal to nRT. Therefore, your final pressure, the pressure correction should be written as P nRT upon V minus NB minus an square upon V square. This is your corrected pressure. I hope this is very clear to all of you. Now let us understand the liquefaction of gases and the critical phenomena. Now when we talk about liquefaction of gases, it means what? To liquefy the gas. How? By lowering the temperature and increasing the pressure, right? I repeat, when we talk about liquefaction of gases, it means what are we talking about? To liquefy the gas by lowering the temperature and by increasing the pressure, right? And over here, by critical phenomena, we are going to talk about the critical temperature, the critical pressure and the critical volume. Clear? So this is what we are going to talk about, critical phenomenon. So coming back, when pressure is increased, what happens? The molecules, they start coming closer and closer and they form liquid state. When temperature is reduced or when the temperature is lowered, they lose kinetic energy and therefore there is decrease in the velocity of the particles or the molecules, and hence they come closer or there is formation of liquid. Thus the slow moving molecules, they cannot resist, remember, the force of attraction. Hence when they come closer, they finally aggregate and form a liquid. Thus what did we deduce over here? That at low temperature and high pressure brings about liquefaction of the gases. The scientist who studied about the liquefaction of the gases was T. Andrews, right? He studied this phenomenon of the gases. He found that for each gas there is a certain temperature above which it cannot be liquefied no matter how high the pressure is applied. What is that called as? That is called as your critical temperature. So how can we define critical temperature? The temperature above which it is not possible to liquefy a gas by applying any amount of pressure is called the critical temperature of that gas. Clear? How is it represented? We write it down like this, Tc, and the value of it is 8A upon 27 BR. Right? This is how we represent the critical temperature of a particular gas. Then we talk about the critical pressure. The pressure that is required to liquefy the gas, that is called as the critical pressure. The pressure required to liquefy the gas is called critical pressure, right? How is this represented? It is represented like this, Pc, and this is equal to A upon 27 B square, right? And remember, now I'm talking about volume, critical volume. The volume occupied by 1 mole of the gas, right? I'll write over here the volume occupied by 1 mole of gas at its critical temperature and critical pressure is called your critical volume of the gas, right? So how is this represented? It is represented like Vc is equal to 3B. This is how it is represented. Now, Andrews, he compressed carbon dioxide and he created an isotherm. Now, Andrews, he compressed carbon dioxide and he created an isotherm, right? In isotherm, what do we mean? Where temperature is kept constant. So now look at the graph at this side. If you look at the curve at 0 degrees and 21 degrees Celsius, this is divided into 3 parts. What are those 3 parts? Look there, AB. First part is AB, which is in its gaseous state. AB, it is in its gaseous state. Now look at BC. BC over here, it shows your flat line, okay? The flat line that you can see over here. Over here in this BC state, it is changing into vapor form, but still it is in its liquid state, right? And look at the third part of it, CD. Over here, this has changed, the gas has changed into its liquid state. Clear? So at 0 degrees to 21 degrees Celsius, carbon dioxide, if you see the 3 states over there, AB, it is in its gaseous state. At BC, it has formed into vapor plus liquid state, and at CD, it changes into the liquid state. Now look at this curve at 31.1 degrees Celsius. As the pressure is increasing on the gas, the volume is decreasing gradually along EF, right? So at F, look at F, there is no distinction between the gaseous carbon dioxide and the liquid carbon dioxide, as the two have the same density. So this F point, what is it called as? It is called as the critical point, right? So Andrews, he found that above 31.1 degrees Celsius, it is not possible to liquefy carbon dioxide by applying any amount of pressure on it. Thus, your 31.1 degrees Celsius, it becomes your critical temperature for carbon dioxide gas. F point becomes your critical point, and wherever that F point is formed, that the graph, that is called as your critical pressure and critical volume, right? At what point? At point F. They are termed as critical pressure and critical volume. Now look at curve at 50 degrees Celsius. Now look at 50 degrees Celsius. You will find it forms a hyperbola here. So higher the critical temperature, easier to liquefy the gases. Gases whose critical temperature is below the room temperature, it is difficult to liquefy. Remember, for example, let's talk about hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas, the critical temperature is 33.2 Kelvin. This is much below room temperature, and therefore it is difficult to liquefy hydrogen gas. Clear? Now, the cooling of the gas can be carried out by making use of two principles. What are they? The cooling of a gas can be carried out by two principles. What are those two principles? The first one is your Joule-Thomson effect, right? And the second one is your adiabatic expansion involving mechanical work. So the cooling of the gas further can be done on these two principles. What are they? Joule-Thomson effect and adiabatic expansion involving mechanical effect. We do till here today. In the next video, we are going to talk about the different methods of liquefaction of these gases. Thank you.